My name is Stacy Cox, and I am the Director of the Champaign County Department of Job and Family Services. I am pleased to share with you a series of video blogs that highlight Child Protective Services through the eyes of our community and our staff. Child Protective Services is an extremely complex field where employees often find themselves experiencing secondary trauma and high levels of burnout. Despite these heavy challenges our staff face, this is also some of the most meaningful work out there. I hope these blogs help to provide you a broad level perspective of the important work of Child Protective Services staff here in Champaign County.
My name is Katy Zwisler. Here I am an ongoing caseworker. I've been here for almost 2 years. I did child welfare in another county in the intake and investigation unit for about 6 years, I think, before I came here. At the time that I had looked to go back to work after my son was born, there was an open position in a county that I had worked when I was fresh out of college, and it just sounded like an interesting experience. I had worked at a residential previous to when I first started with the county, fresh out of college, and I had known a couple of staff members there that had gone over to children's services, and I guess the more I learned about some of the different aspects of it, I thought it was kind of interesting how they operated and then all worked together. So I'm far happier than I was where I used to be compared to where I used to be. And it's not just because of the place. I think some of it has to do with my position now. It's not as there's an emergency at 4:25 in the afternoon on a Friday and you have to go deal with it. I feel less on edge. I feel really fortunate to have upper management and a director specifically who have a child welfare background. That was not something that I had experienced previously, and it seems to really make a world of difference. Having that fundamental understanding from doing that previously is really critical, I think, in an agency, or certainly the willingness to be receptive to feedback and whatnot. But we're really lucky in that regard. Sometimes having ongoing cases, you have the work with the same families for what can be a really long time. Sometimes the kids, when they're in our permanent custody, are with you for an extremely long time. And overall, I mean, of course, there's always a few outliers, but overall, I do really enjoy getting to make that connection with the families and seeing how things progress. Ideally, if things go well and are successful overall, but even if they're not, being able to establish that sense of permanency. And my favorite thing, I've gotten to participate in 3 adoptions in the last few months, and that's been pretty amazing. So I don't have a typical day. No, every day is different, and that's another reason that I also enjoy the work versus just doing kind of the same robotic 6, 7 motions and then start back over and take it from the top. A lot of days I come in and just try to get an idea of if there's anything that needs to be handled, fires that need to be put out, whatever. I try to have some days that I reserve for getting caught up on emails or documentation or just other things that I have to do behind the scenes, behind the computer. And then some days I have multiple visits where I'm running through the course of 14 counties going to see different people and kids. So it just kind of depends which one of those days we're talking about. Probably that every day is so different. I don't feel like I have one day that's like the previous. And even doing it for a while and seeing my coworker, my colleagues, those who have more seniority and experience in this work than I do too, um, there's always something new that you're going to run across, something new to learn, something new that you have to find out the information too. So um, it's nice to not feel like there's kind of that sense of maybe stagnance. Some days, especially now, I would say a lot of it is having that rapport and that relationship with, some of the kids that we do work with more long term, and knowing that I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave them. It, I don't know. You get connected, and even if you're having a real bad day, that alone can keep you going to come back the following. That we aren't all baby thieves, that we don't get bonuses when we bring kids into custody. Um, no, more seriously, I mean, it is kind of in the same regard, but that's not anything pleasant for us either. I get the family is experiencing that, and that's a whole different lens. But it's not something that we enjoy doing by any means. And nor do we enjoy keeping families separated for any longer than we have to. Um, and that reunification is always the goal whenever possible. The adoptions, those are pretty awesome.
Thank you for taking the time to learn more about what our Child Protective Services staff do here on behalf of children and families in Champaign County.